So it's time to find out what book I'm going to be reading next, but first I want to show you the books that I bought over my holiday, which are going to be added to the jars. I bought 10 books whilst I was on holiday, and I got one for my birthday as well. So I'm going to show you which books they are, and these are going to be going into the jar. So the first book is Shakespeare by Bill Bryson. Can you guess where I bought this? Yes, Stratford-upon-Avon. And the Shakespeare's Birthplace book collection. So this is, you know, non-fiction, looking at Shakespeare, his life and everything, by the fabulous Bill Bryson. I've read some of Bill Bryson's stuff before, but not much. So you guys know how much I love Shakespeare, and I thought, you know what, while it was there, I'll give it a go. So Bill Bryson Shakespeare is the first one. The second one is one that I'm not putting in the jars because of what it is. And that book is The Diary of Frida Kahlo. Now, recently I've really got it in my head that I really want to explore authors that I've never read before. And that's not following on from the Woman in White video where I was just saying about, you know, picking up other authors and such and exploring them. I have for like probably about 6 months or so been really itching to look at authors from other countries who I never, you know, would have picked up before. I really gotten back into art again, and I'd really love to read a book about like Vincent van Gogh or Frida Kahlo and such. And whilst we were in Bath, Laura and I, my sister, went to my favourite bookshop in Bath, and we walked in, and I was in the art section, and there was this massive front table as you go in the art section, and right there, slap bang in the middle, was the Diaries of Frida Kahlo. Now this is mainly made up of paintings and such that she did. Obviously there is her actual writing, her diary entries and such, which are extraordinary, but it's absolutely stunning diary. And the back section is a translation of the various diary entries. Although, you know, this could go into the jar, I'd like to read this in my own time and just go back and forth and pick it up and see how, you know, read some about Frida, how she felt about things at certain times of life, because this covers like 10 years of diary entries. But yeah, that's why I'm not going to put it in the jar, but I just absolutely adore this. They put a plastic cover on this, and I don't want to take the plastic cover off. I just want to preserve it. I think it's extraordinary. But yeah, so there's the Diary of Frida Kahlo. And the third, this is the last of the non-fiction, sorry, I should have said I'm doing the non-fiction stuff first, is one that my dad recommended to me, and that is I'll Be Gone in the Dark by Michelle McNamara. This is a book about this horrific series of robberies and attacks and murders and such that took place in the 1970s, I think it was, and this woman, Michelle McNamara, who became kind of obsessed with the case. She was writing, she was trying to find various evidence, she was doing all this stuff and trying to pin down who this guy was, because there was this whole thing about how crimes happening in different areas and the connection wasn't quite made. And sadly Michelle died in a couple of years ago, I think now, and only recently, thanks to her diligence about the case, thanks to modern forensics as well, the person who it was has now been found and is in police custody and such. So this is her book writing about the case, and it has a very moving, when I said a very moving open letter to the killer at the end when Michelle knew that she was sadly dying. And yeah, he said, I read it in the shortest time. I was just completely glued to it. So I thought, why not? I'll get a copy. Now over to the fiction, which is takes up the majority of the group. Now I'm going to start with, the first one is a present I got from my mum and dad, and that is Minette Walters' The Last Hours. I've not read any Minette Walters before. My mum absolutely loves her, as does my sister. So this is one that's set in 1348 during the Black Death in England. So apparently that's quite different from her other books, I don't know. As I said, not read any of other books, but it's all to do with this woman taking control of the area, not wanting to cause spread of the disease and such, and how she is looked down on as a woman trying to do this, but also there's a secret, I think there's possibly a death or a murder or something, and the cover up, the story, the intrigue, the twists and turns about this whole situation in this area. So yeah, I'm quite intrigued to read The Last Hours by Minette Walters. Okay, the next two are completely Shakespeare related. The first one is Juliet and Romeo, a novel retelling by David Hewson. This is one that I took by chance because the other book that I'm going to show you, I actually got because my Waterstones loyalty card was full. I mean, I got £10 off my next transaction, and the next book I'm going to show you was £9.99, so I had to, you know, get something else in order to make it even, else their till goes balmy. I've tried that before with something that's less than £10 and they've kicked up a fuss, like even to the degree of putting a penny on a gift card. But anyway, so I thought, okay, I'll buy something else with it, and this was sat by it, and I picked it up, and it's a kind of retelling of Romeo and Juliet, but with a bit more twist and turn, but still staying true to the piece. And I started going through it, and I thought this actually sounds really interesting, so I bought them together, and therefore I got the two of them in a sense for like £6, because of, yeah, it was just brilliant. And also I had, you know, money off on my bingo card anyway, so or loyalty card, so I'm quite intrigued to read this. I've recommended it to my sister as well, and it's set in Verona in 1499, so it's still the place and everything. It's just a bit of a retelling of Romeo and Juliet. Now this next one I'm really excited to read, and that is We That Are Young by Preti Taneja. I hope I'm saying that right. I'm really sorry if I've got your name wrong. But this is basically a book that's recently won a load of awards, and I was telling my sister about it whilst I was away, and us having the conversation back and forth, the messenger actually got me intrigued in it, and I thought, you know what, whilst I'm here in Stratford, I'll see if it's here, and it was. And it's a retelling of King Lear set in India. And the concept of that, and, you know, partitioning and all that lot that happened in India, how that can then relate to King Lear and the country and splitting it up and everything, dividing it, and it fits like a glove, and it's won big awards recently. And I was like, you know what, I really quite like to read that. It's a chunky book. It's like 700, I think, pages long. 556. So it's a good chunky book for £9.99. Well worth the money, I think. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to delving into that. So, right, so the next one is one where I have picked this up before and put it down lots of times in bookshops and that, but I've never properly got it. And my sister and I were in Bath. We walked into a bookshop and it was there for £3. Come on, I'm going to have to buy it. And that is Rivers of London by Ben Aronovich. So this is about a police officer who interviews a man to do with a suspect, to do with a crime in London, only the man is dead. So that's the blurb that you get from the back of it. So I know this is the first of a series, so I've seen his various other books on the bookshelf, you know, various different colours, but they're still the same design, same pattern, same blood flowing and all that lot. And yeah, so I'm really intrigued to read Rivers of London. Now, the final four, these four, every single bookshop, and I'm not just talking about Waterstones, but every single bookshop I've gone into, the 3, maybe 4 months, these 4 books have always been there, and I always see them on the bookshelf, so I'm like, I'm gonna have to get them. So the first one is Gabriel Garcia Marquez's Love in the Time of Cholera. Again, the same bookshop where we got Rivers of London. Walked in and it was there for £3 in Bath. Thank you, Bath, for that. This is a book as I said, I wanted to open my eyes and read more books and authors from different countries and that. And as soon as I got this kind of thought of doing that in my mind months ago, Gabriel Garcia Marquez was the first name that popped into my head. I've kind of always had, like, Love the Time of the Cholera. It's always been there. as a book that I might get to if I'm able to. But I've been thinking about it more and more with wanting to read his works. So it was there, it was £3. I'm like, go for it. So I'm really intrigued to read Love in the Time of Cholera, and it's about these two people and their complex relationship, and to do with the time where they are and the outbreak of cholera and everything. And it's about love and how it can span decades and complexities of relationships. It just sounds wonderful to me, so I'm really intrigued to read Love in the Time of Cholera. The next one is one which a lot of people are beaming about, because recently a TV trailer was issued for it and fans were going crazy. Even though I haven't seen the trailer and such, it is A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Hawkins. Now, Harkness, sorry, not Hawkins. I'm trying to read this very quickly, just glancing and trying to keep an eye on you guys. The camera. So yeah, Discovery of Witches is one that I don't really know much of the story about, but the fact that I keep on seeing it keeps on making me think there's something in my mind saying, you need to read this, or there's a reason why you keep looking for this. You want to read this even though you don't know what it's really about. And like I said, there's a TV series that's going to be coming soon to Sky, which I have Sky, but I've not seen it at all. I'm really not sure what this is really about, but I keep on seeing it absolutely everywhere. So I thought, oh, take a chance, buy it and see how you feel. Okay, and the last two, as I said, keep seeing it everywhere I go, and that is a modern classic ghost story, and that is Shirley Jackson's We Have Always Lived in the Castle. Shirley Jackson is an author that I didn't really know about until a few months ago when I kept on seeing this book, and I've picked it up a few times and I've been flicking through it, and it's like, for a short story, she's interesting, really interesting author, and I've been picking up her other books as well. And she's had an extraordinary talent, and yeah, I don't know why I didn't know her, but I thought, you know, because I keep on seeing this one in particular, I'm going to give it a go. So Shirley Jackson's We Have Always Lived in the Castle. And the final one, because again I keep on seeing it everywhere, I know very little about it, but everyone who I know who's read it has told me I have to read it, and that is The Kite Runner. By Juliet Hassini. Again, I'm so sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. But so this has been made into a film, and it's set in Afghanistan in 1975, and kind of follows a boy who's wanting to attend a kite tournament, and what's going on around him and everything, and where that leads. But I've been told this is absolutely fantastic, so I bought a copy because I've seen it absolutely everywhere for months. So those are all the books that I bought on my holiday or got given as presents for my birthday, and they've gone into different jars. But now it's time to find out which book I'm going to be reading next. Now, technically, right now is the 30th of June, but I'm going to be publishing this tomorrow, and of course start reading tomorrow. Tomorrow's July, so my June picks is now done. I've read 5 out of the 7 June picks. I'm really proud of myself that I managed to do that, but yeah, even though I've been absolutely crazy busy. So now it's back to the jars, and it's the non-fiction jar. So in here are the non-fiction books in my collection I want to read or reread. So I'm just going to give it a shake, and then I'm going to choose one at random. Okay, here we go. Ooh, let's go for this one. Okay. And the book is... ooh! It's one of my faves. It's Courtiers, A Secret History of Kensington Palace by Lucy Worsley. I absolutely love this book. I've read it a couple of times. I've met Lucy Worsley on multiple occasions. She's signed like all but one of my books. She's an absolutely fantastic writer, and I'm so glad to be going back to the world of Courtiers. So yeah, I will be back with my review of Courtiers as soon as I'm done, and I will see you guys later. Alright guys, bye!